Yo, what is happening, ladies and gentlemen? It's your main man, Coach Fah.
And it's your brother, Mr. Lewis, was good.
Yes, it is. It's all the time. And stuff. Nah. Thank y'all for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I know there's tough weather going on in certain parts of Pennsylvania right now, but we're praying for everybody. If y'all got your power back, we're glad you got your power back on. You know what I mean? And let's get busy, baby. We got a big show for y'all tonight, so strap in, y'all.
Welcome to the Candid Corner. 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 Your number one spot for hip hop, classic hip hop, today's hip hop. You talk about sports, you talk about Knicks, you talk about 76ers, you talking football, you talking about Giants, you talking Steelers. Your main spot for New York and Pennsylvania sports, baby. Right here. Coach Fah, Mr. Lewis, the Candid Corner. Real talk for real listeners. Yeah.
Brought to you by Nat Time Entertainment Media and the good folk over at Off the Ball Network. Yo, so we are back in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
And
sure.
like I said, man, so how you feeling, Mr. Lewis, before we get too involved?
Well, I feel great now. Had a blackout for a few hours. Power came up right before the show, so I'm good now. I'm happy,
Wow.
blessed, feeling good. No complaints.
Right on, man. Right on. Yo, I am chilling and so far there's been no weather over here and that's cool. You know what I mean? But
Good.
dude, don't mind me. I'm a little distracted because there's so much, man. Yo, we just welcome to Headline. Yo, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a long interview and we don't have time nor the clearance to play the whole thing. But y'all legit gotta see this, man. I mean, y'all legit gotta see this, man.
It really matters. That's what he said. That's what he said. No Bob Domowski. The part is, the backstory of that is, after the season, there was a part of me that did think that there would be conversation about an extension. Based on my cap number this season, next season, it seemed natural based on the way I played to at least have a conversation about it. It wasn't a conversation, not until into May, and that to me seemed like an analogy that you guys understand. You guys have a fantastic year at work. You write some great stories. You go to your boss and say, "I just had an incredible year. I think I deserve a pay raise or some security." And the boss says, "Yeah, let's just see how it goes." A couple months down the line, you get another job opportunity. You go back to your boss and say, "Hey, I got this amazing job opportunity." And they say, "Whoa, no, we love you. We do want you to stick around. We do care about you. Just have the same uh, feeling, And so, I said it wasn't about the money, and the way that felt, kind of just doubled down on that. Nothing really changed throughout the summer. There were obviously some developments in the last week or so, but I was really working on myself and my own mental state throughout the patch where I feel like I could improve based on my own patterns and conditioning. And there was a lot of growth in that process. I continued to find joy and happiness in things off the field.
Two cousins have got his deal, and Matthew got his deal. And so he started asking me, hey, and he's, it's going to come, not this way about the money. But I thought I remember you saying, I'm looking for a partnership. Is that accurate? Because it wasn't long after he got the deal. And then 6 months later on a Monday, they said they called him on, you said they called him on a golf cart and said, it's Matt LaFleur, I'm talking.
Been over and over and over again that make me realize that the organization looks at me and my job is just to play. In my opinion, based on what I've accomplished in this league, the way I care about my teammates, the way I show up in the locker room, the way I lead, the way I conduct myself in the community, you should tie myself to a little bit more input. The rules, are the same for most people, but every now and then there's some outliers. Guys who've been in an organization for 17 years and won a few MVPs, where they can be in conversations at a different higher level.
Yo, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So first
I'm
and
not answering for
foremost,
anything.
no, you be quiet. So first and foremost, there was a lot there, and there's more. And he goes on about how certain free agents they weren't treated well, and this, that, and the third, and he should have been in on that more. And as you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, 17 years I've been here and nobody's asked me my opinion. I'm like, didn't you get Mike McCarthy fired? I think they were kind of listening to your opinion. Now,
Years.
they may not have liked your opinion. To me, that's fair. They may not have been really gracious on that. And welcome to you get paid to play, shut up and play. I'm not defending it. I'm just like, wow, you just this is how you deal with that revelation. Interesting.
Hey, being a former football player and a veteran, there were times in both areas I had been told by higher ups that we don't get paid to think.
Yeah, I hear you. That's why I said, it's interesting. My only thing is though, with him specifically, is like, weren't you just in an NFC title game? Didn't you just have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl? Because quietly, I'm thinking about what he was maneuvering as far as wanting to do what Tom Brady did like last year. We already knew about that. So I'm,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of like, yo, why do you want to do what Tom Brady did if you was already there and had a great opportunity to knock him off and go make your legacy even greater right there? I mean,
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
if you was trying to go, I get it, but win first and then go. It's be like, F y'all, and I'm out. I won y'all Super Bowl and I kiss my butt. Peace.
Mm. And as my mom would say when we were kids, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. And it's just like, all right, now you doing the interview for the first time ever, and you are literally airing out the franchise. And I hear that, and I honestly I've never really been a fan of folk airing out the franchise in
Yeah.
public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry. If they doing wrong, then it'll all come to light anyway. But if this didn't seem like they were doing completely wrong, they brought in a new head coach that has new ideas and stuff, and y'all made it to the daggone NFC title game. So the head coach is doing his job. You're doing your job. Players are doing their job. I mean, if you wanted to leave, you instead of agreeing to sign a lame duck, and I bring that up specifically, a lame duck contract this season, knowing you're leaving next season. And then in this interview, you said you didn't want to be a lame duck quarterback, but you now are, because this year they know that you are going to perform your tail off because you want to make sure other teams know that you're still Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you did reveal your chess move.
But my thing is, man, and I hate to say it like this, but I mean, dude, Cam Akers is gone for the year, you know what I mean, in practice. It's
Yeah.
no guarantee you're going to make it through the season intact. Hate to
Very
say it
true.
like that, but this is football.
Very true.
And if you end up on the wrong side of something, how are you going to get that next contract? Because play teams want to win now. And if they grab Aaron Rodgers, they expecting like Tom Brady to win now. Not to win
Yeah,
next year when you're a year older and you're coming off of an injury. I mean, I know you're still Aaron Rodgers, but dude, you played this wrong. I get that they did you dirty and they weren't listening and they've made mistakes. But when we really look at it, yeah, they've made mistakes. They let Randall Cobb and a few other people that you love go, but you still made it to the NFC title game with the guys you got. And yeah, maybe a lot of that was you being Aaron Rodgers, but you got your MVP for it. Why didn't you beat Tom Brady? And why aren't we talking about that enough? And why aren't we talking about how for 17 years, as he so eloquently put, how many times has he been to the Super Bowl? How many times has he won it? I'm just saying, you are Aaron Rodgers, right?
yeah,
So how come you ain't there more? Anyway, because that's just one of my headline heats going on. Dude, we eviscerating today. Simone Biles, y'all.
mm,
I have learned more about the structural injuries to gymnasts and the stuff they conceal and the pain, the literal pain they conceal for these tournaments. And I understand, Lord, I understand. It's the Olympics. They only come around every 4 years. But the comments that I'm hearing, I'm going to say it like this. I'm an older cat, unfortunately. And I don't feel like one, but I am one. I've been around for a minute. You know what I mean? I've seen the 80s, I've seen the 90s, I've seen the 2000s, I've seen the 2010s. You know what I mean? And for many, many decades, America as a whole, and the black community especially, has had issues dealing with mental health. We talk
absolutely.
we talk toughness, we talk work through it, we talk push through, we talk, it matters to
Push it
other
down,
people.
push it down.
Push it down. Exactly. Push it down. We get taught all that. And we applaud when people literally ruin their bodies for the rest of their lives for our pleasure.
Yeah,
But we don't chip in when
at
the
all,
money disappears
at
and when
all.
they're hobbled and having to go to hospitals and stuff like nah, we don't know nothing about that. We don't see him no more. We forget all about it. Oh, that's so sad. What happened to such and such? Somebody said, well, if LeBron took a championship game off, would y'all be saying the same thing? I'm like, but dude takes games off all year long. What are
It's
you
like,
talking about?
and didn't
He
Kyrie
made
Irving
sure
literally do the same thing in the playoffs?
they make sure that their mental and physical health are taken care of throughout the season so that in the games that matter, they can be there.
Absolutely.
Simone Biles don't have that many. Gymnastics is different, and everybody's screaming, "She's the goat! She's the goat! She's the goat!" Y'all don't understand. People handle pressures and things differently.
Yeah,
And you sitting on your couch mad. Have you ever been a gymnast in your life? Have you ever performed at that level in your life for you to be this mad?
that was my argument too. To speak candidly, a lot of
That's
these
what we here
people
for.
have never performed at a high level at anything, so they really need to sit down, shut the fuck up, and learn something.
I was gonna say other than shit talking, but you handled that for me, and I appreciate it.
That's what I'm here
Now
for.
listen, this in on that. You know what I mean? Playing fear on her because she recognized at the last vault meet. and I hope I don't break up, but I see my internet might be tripping a little bit.
Yeah, you came
At
through
the
a little
last
broken.
vault meet, darn it, at the last vault meet, when she came off the vault, she was hobbling.
Yeah, man.
I live with pain every day. Without going into everything that I got to work with, my family and friends, y'all know, every single day of my life, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, and half the time, even while I'm asleep, I am waking up in pain. I live with foot pain every day of my life. Every step that I take hurts every day. And I don't put my ankles and knees and everything else through the same type of anguish that this young lady puts herself through for our pleasure as much as her own achievement.
Yeah. And I could take it a step further too. I'm a disabled veteran as well.
Yes,
And
you are.
I've been living with chronic pain and issues since I was 19 years old. And I would find it funny through my life, certain folks that wouldn't believe me or would be in disbelief and would give me these same type of comments and critiques. And it shows me like clearly you've never experienced anything or never had to perform at a high level at anything and had to sacrifice your body. I had to sacrifice my body for our country. And I've been injured like an old man since I was a teenager.
Yes, you
And
have.
motherfuckers be out here still trying to chastise me like I'm just some old lazy, shiftless Negro that don't want to
Your
work.
voice and your body been matching since you've been 18.
But yeah,
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so
nah, but that's
I
real. It's
empathize
real.
with Miss Biles about,
Right.
just yeah, man. I
Dude, and
give
then
her props for the bravery to say, yo, yeah, this is the
what
Olympics, but this is the
happens?
game.
Thank you, Lou. And I'm sorry, I don't
Go
mean
ahead, brother.
to cut you off. I feel a little ways about this. What happens if she says, I'll suck it up for them one more time, goes out there on the vault and shatters her ankle for the whole world to see? And now she's on a stretcher crying and writhing in pain. Are we cheering that, guys? All y'all who want her to push through something?
Do
Y'all
you
don't
mind if I
understand.
read
Go right
something
ahead.
from former gymnast Jacoby Miles? His thoughts on Simone Biles and Team USA. She was mentally not doing well, which was also causing her to get lost in the air, which never happens to her. I experienced these mental blocks throughout my career as a gymnast, and not to be quite blunt, it only took one bad time of getting lost, or what they call the twisties, in the air in a big flip to break my neck and leave me paralyzed, most likely for life. So I'm so glad she decided not to continue until she's mentally recovered, especially at her skill difficulty. I knew that putting the weight of the world on her shoulders by her own and ego and letting the world put the weight of the world on her shoulders was going to catch up with her eventually. It just sucks. It was the Olympics where the humbling and reality of being human had to happen. We all live and learn. No one is perfect. I know I am a very flawed human being. My heart goes out to Simone, and I pray she recovers mentally despite what has happened in the past. Much love. This
Bang.
man broke his neck.
Literally broke his neck, y'all. So let's lay off the young lady for 39 seconds or more. All right. So now we're moving quick on because we do that. We go pew, we go pew, we go
Yeah.
pew. All right. Dak is back. Wait. On the rack. Because now he's got an apparent arm throwing injury. Yeah, so right now his training camp has started off a little bit rocky, coming off the ankle injury. Now he has an arm injury,
Mm.
and so he's kind of back on the rack for a little while.
Yeah.
I,
Hate to see it, man.
yeah, it's just dude, but you know, what I mean, it's hard coming back off injury. Yeah, you spend all this time rehabbing a specific area of your body. You know what I mean? And so now that you feel confident that that's back, and now you're trying to get back into everything else, you might have during that training process neglected other aspects of your physical frame. And so surprise injuries like this come about. It sucks, but it's a reality of recovery. But I do hope that he makes it in time for the start of the season and that he's well. But I definitely wanted to bring that up because that came down today.
Hmm.
Odell Beckham is off the pup list. He is now off the physically unable to play list, and he is officially back.
Hmm.
Do they need him? Do they even want him, or are they going to trade him this season? Lou? What you think, man?
That's a good question.
Of course, no.
He's a great he's a great player, but with things he said to the media, I'm pretty sure it got the organization looking at him like, word.
Well, he hasn't been
So
really twisty lately. He's been kind of
not lately,
quiet and
but
calm.
not lately, but I'm pretty sure they still ain't forgot what he said
I mean,
before. So.
he ain't hugging kicking nets no more like he did with us, but I mean, he's an all-world talent, but the problem with him is he catches too many balls that no other wide receiver can catch because the quarterbacks that he has throwing to him fall in love with him and forget about the other guys on the field every time. So far, because Baker has said the same thing, we knew that's what happened with Eli. So yeah, but I'm hoping that that OBJ, finds a place that he can really just be him and with a solid quarterback that can look at him and others. I guess I don't know. I don't know what fits right for him, but I'm hoping for the best.
I was going to say, on the other hand, I mean, Cleveland don't really got a choice. They better keep all the good players they can.
Well, the thing is, they say that Baker played better when Odell was sitting because he was able to see Jarvis and the other guys and
Right.
moving the ball along a lot better. And again, I know that from Eli because Eli ended up relying on his Linus, his safety
Mm-hmm.
blanket. You know what I mean? And I saw Baker doing the same. And it's not like it's Odell's fault that he's that damn good. Like
Right.
it's just poor fella. But yo, thank y'all for tuning in to that wonderful segment. And now we got to get into the draft because Stephen Gillespie has been so patient in the
Yeah.
laboratory, man. He has been just chilling, waiting for his time, and we got to get him his time. So we're going to hit you with this quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Candid freaking corner out here. We go back to the Peloton. Peloton. We've been overcharging for our bikes since 1914. Babe Ruth still has payments. Peloton. You'll work out great, and you'll owe us for decades even after you're gone. Gotta have fun. And where's my music? There we go. All right, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk some NBA draft basketball in the building. We got from Breaking the Game podcast, probably one of the best podcasts for sports and entertainment on the net. One of the best shows, the Off the Board Network, and that's just
Y'all ready
real.
for this?
And we're on the Off the Board Network, so I'm saying something. Shoot. Please welcome Stephen G.
What's up, fellas?
What's
Appreciate the
going on?
intro. What's good, family?
Yeah, it's been 2 minutes and some change, and I'm glad to see you, bruh.
Yes,
What's
Oh
yes.
happening?
man, I'm so happy that y'all invited me to be on the show today, and just loved all the segments, especially the Simone Biles. I could spend the entire time you had me on here for the draft talking about that, but y'all did a great job covering it
Thank
and
you.
bringing things to light that are necessary. Especially I know it's different for everybody, right? But I think anybody should be able to look at someone understanding that they're going through a stressful time and take a minute for themselves to make sure that they're okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
For real. And I mean, listen, there's a difference between pushing through a fear
Mm-hmm.
and hurting yourself.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Again, you're military, and thank you for your service, my brother.
And you for yours as well as you,
You
Mr.
know what I
Lou.
mean? So this is cool. This is a vet show right now. You know what I
Hey,
mean? And
Right
so
on.
we all understand that difference. We've all been pushed to the line, and we're supposed to be,
mm-hmm.
Yes, we
because
would
we
all
have
push
to
that
push
limit
through things to get
further.
to that limit. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
But then there's PTSD and
Yep.
stuff like that. And that's not about a limit. That's about the limit you've already endured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's already won gold so many times. She's already put herself
She's so
through it.
young too, man. It's so sad to see a young person going through it.
Well, honestly, I'm gonna say this because we were all young people once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually proud of her
Oh yeah.
for not going through it silently and letting everyone tell you what you're supposed to do to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes.
glad she said, you know what, time out. Time out. I understand this is the Olympics. I've been here before.
Pretty
You know
good
what I
at
mean?
it.
I've been here with teammates that were physically abused. I went through that. Do y'all understand that too?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all understand the trust levels I've lost in these years while y'all got me doing yogurt commercials?
Being on cereal boxes.
You know what I mean? But NBA
Yes.
draft is
My
And
bad. My
tomorrow.
people,
bad.
We
no,
gotta
no.
hit it. No.
Go,
Listen,
go,
because
go, go, go.
again, we can do this. We
Yeah,
can do this
yeah,
all day.
Hey man, Captain America, right?
Yes, you know that. You know what
I
I mean?
mean,
That's my dude, man. I
yes,
love that.
sir.
And First Avenger's my favorite, but well, one of my favorites. But let's get into this NBA talk because where is this at? You know what? I had it up, but I'll get it back up again. It's no issue. I just got to go into my Stephen Gillespie page because he
Hey,
has the most awesomest, and I said awesomest. Yes, I did. He had the most awesomest uh, big board.
I appreciate that, man. And I
Yes,
saw
sir.
I saw your draft content as well, man. You did a great job. I love that you threw trades in there. I'm not brave enough to do that.
Dude, man, are you kidding? You the best at this. I
Well, I
mean, I
mean, that means a lot, man. I appreciate that. Real talk. I
yo,
really
real
do
talk.
appreciate that.
I've learned a lot about how to really study and
Mm.
understand my craft hanging out with y'all.
Well, that means a lot, man. I appreciate it. That's all I try to do. I just try to shed light on stuff maybe people aren't realizing. So
So let's just break it down. I see you have Cade Cunningham going first.
yes, sir.
To what team?
Oh, the Detroit Pistons. I don't think that they trade this pick. I mean, there's that whole smoke screen that maybe they trade him to Oklahoma City for SGA, who I really love. I mean, I wouldn't trade the number one. I wouldn't trade the number one pick for SGA, but I might try to make something else happen. There's other players that maybe you can trade down to Oklahoma City to get SGA. Maybe pair him up with Cade Cunningham. Like a Killian Hayes and future first round draft picks. Maybe you can do something like that.
I hear that. I will get back to that
Okay.
because I'll bring up mine as well. So, all right, what we're gonna do is I'm going to super blast through the
Okay.
first 10, and then we'll go and circle back because I do see I see some similarities, I see some differences. So, of course,
Sure.
everybody knows Cade's going first. So you got Cade, then you got Jalen Suggs, then
Hmm.
you have Jalen Green. You have the two Jalen.
Yes, sir.
Then you've got Jonathan Kuminga, and then Evan Mobley. So Evan Mobley going fifth. And he's still in the top five. That's interesting because he's a very, very skilled young guy. His
Hmm.
brother got skills too. I'm surprised his brother wasn't drafted. I really am, but I think he might end up on the team.
Yeah, I think next season he'll come out and it's not as deep as a draft class, at least projected out to be right now. So he might benefit coming in next season, maybe late first, second round pick somewhere in that window.
Now Evan's the younger brother. Am I correct in that?
I think you're right. You're putting my knowledge
I
to the
think
test right here. But
Isaiah is the
yeah,
older brother,
I
and
think
I
you're
thought
right.
he was a senior.
I don't. I'm not sure that he is.
Okay, I got to check
Because I'm
that.
pretty sure he withdrew from the draft. I'm pretty sure he did.
Are they
Okay,
any relation to Katino Mobley?
No, they're not. That
no,
would be
no,
nice though.
that would be great. No, but I mean, their father did play, and so did their mom. They're a basketball family.
Hmm.
Right on. Okay.
So then we got James Bonite going. You've got him going sixth.
Well, so real quick, Fah, this is my big board. This is like how I think guys are going to pan out long term.
Okay.
Yeah, my mock draft is on the Off the Ball website, and I have it pulled up here
Ah,
beside me too. But this is where I think guys like in a vacuum, fit don't matter. They could go to the worst team or the best team. This is where I see guys kind of panning out long term, and I did my top
okay.
60 based off of the 2 rounds of the draft.
And just to slide to the end of this big board of yours, the future
Hmm.
board, Quentin Grimes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's this low. But at the same time, I'm surprised that I haven't heard his name anywhere else but your board.
Well, so he's actually getting a lot of first round buzz, and I feel like any NBA draft analyst will look at this, and the majority of them will disagree. And I could be wrong. I believe I had a second round grade on Desmond Bain last season,
Okay.
and I don't know. Just there's certain aspects of his game. I don't try to put guys on blast. I just don't feel like he's worth that second round buzz, or excuse me, that the end of the first round buzz. But I do see why people like him. The idea of him growing as a shooter in the NBA obviously has a lot of appeal to it. That's the most valued skill in the NBA right now is 3-point shooting. But yeah, I have him as a second round grade. He could obviously end up being better. I believe in some of these other guys' skill development, their NBA readiness a little bit higher than him, obviously.
Right on. All right, so I am on the Off the Ball network, and I'm smiling because, of course, I see my article.
Very well done, by the way, Fa.
I appreciate that. But now we on the break of the. Look at this picture of him on Break in the Cave, yo. Y'all gotta see this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm putting you on blast, bro. Look at this.
Hey,
Hey, look at this handsome cat right here, man.
hey.
Wow. I mean, yo, suited and booted, bro.
That was
I'm
a
loving it.
father daughter dance.
All right.
Aw.
Yeah.
See, and you're already awesome, and now you did the father daughter dance.
I got 2 girls. My oldest is 5, so I went out with her. I think that was when she was 3 when we went out and did that.
Okay.
Girl dad.
Oh man, I got
Respect.
2 boys and 2 girls, so
Wow, dad.
well rounded. I'll say.
Mm.
Outstanding, man.
Yep.
Yo. All right, so just real quick, we're gonna pop over because as you so eloquently put, yes, I've got trades in mind.
Yeah, really really good stuff, man.
All right. Now, what I did not do in the article, and big shouts Danny B. He pointed that out to me. That's Papardo on the next corner,
Right.
and he was like, "Yo, Fa, you didn't explain the number one pick. You just kind of put it there." And I was like, "Yeah," because I wanted to see people comment on it
Mm.
because I'm special about dropping wild stuff like that. So, okay, we agree that Cade's going first.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to Toronto.
Interesting.
Yes, people have said that because they
So
told
what's the
me.
trade?
Now I haven't worked out the particulars of the trade. I do believe it will involve Fred Van Vliet more than likely,
Oh, okay.
but it's more because they need to fill a hole once Kyle Lowry leaves.
Mm,
And yes, Fred is a great player, but I think we know Fred's ceiling. And if you have an opportunity to bring Cade to your team, you bring Cade to your team, pairing
hmm
with Siakam and quietly and effectively rebuild kind of quickly with a cat like that.
mm.
Mm.
And they got OG Ananobi, who a
Right,
lot of people don't talk about
Yes.
enough.
Yes,
right.
He's a really good player, man. I love
yes.
OG.
Knockdown
So
shooter.
yeah, exactly. So now you've got a young facilitator who can score, who's got bounce, who's got pop, all of that good stuff. I think he's a best fit for Toronto trying to go forward. And whether it's a smokescreen or not, I really feel like Detroit is uncertain whether they want to pick Cade at number one.
Mm.
Mm,
Because let's keep it real, they got 5 point guards on their team, and they haven't traded any.
hmm
So at the end of the day, if you were if what would tell me they want Cade is I would see I'd see Killian Hayes traded. I'd see Dennis Smith traded, maybe in the package with Killian Hayes. I don't know, but I would see 3 point guards leaving the building because you need a backup at least, and maybe somebody that could help the backup in case the backup gets hurt. But
hmm
you don't need 6 point guards.
I think people would the only counter to that I think that
Mhm.
you would hear Fa is that Cade has such great size. You know, he's about 6'7" to 6'9", somewhere in that neighborhood. So the way that the NBA is kind of going is that maybe there's probably the belief that people feel like that he could pair up with, you know, Killian Hayes in the same backcourt. You know, because of his size.
Based on the reports that I've heard out of and I don't have any insider knowledge or anything like that. I've just heard a few conversations, read an article or two here and there. But
Mm,
I do the constant theme is that Detroit has had internal meetings
hmm
about what to do with the number one because they are not set. So if they aren't set on Cade, and if that information is true, then that's why I believe if you're not set on him, trade down,
Yeah.
get a guy like Evan Mobley
Okay.
who can do the same things that you're saying for Detroit, but at from the center position on up, because
hmm
that dude can play 3 positions easy, and he can guard guards because he used to be a guard.
hmm
He is literally like what Durant, AD, and Giannis were when they were younger. He's got
Okay.
that capability and that athleticism, in my humble opinion. And I've watched USC, man. He's just a little young, is all.
Yeah.
But I feel like with him and Killian Hayes and the staff that they have at Detroit, I think, and for less money, because again, you don't have to pay the number 4 pick like you got to pay the number 1 pick.
That's true.
So it saves you on cap as well a bit. And honestly, they're not as close to relevancy output as Toronto is. So for Toronto to get back into relevancy quickly, I think the Cade Cunningham move is a better move for them with OG and Siakam and Van Vliet if they
Gary
can keep
Trent and
them.
all them. Yeah.
Gary Trent more than anybody. Again, they've got a nice youngish core. And with a guy like that, that can give them a year or two, that could actually really, really spring them back. But I don't think that Kyle is going to be there.
hmm
And again, I understand they got Fred Van Vliet, but if you have a chance to get Cade, I think you get Cade.
Oh yeah, I don't think that Toronto would would argue that at all. I think Toronto would, if they felt like they could. I think that they definitely would try to pull a trigger to get Cade Cunningham. Absolutely.
I have two others, and I want your opinion on both of y'all's opinion on these because again, this Toronto Pistons thing is my imagination. I haven't heard any rumors or anything
hmm
like that. I'm just like, I'm vibing out there. And again, last year I kind of stick straight to the script, and I didn't put trades into my draft or anything like that. So this year I kind of branching out.
Okay.
What do you think? I firmly believe, and I've heard on NBA TV, I heard them wax poetic about it. I've seen a couple of things online. I think Bradley Beal to Golden State makes sense. And again, This is the second time I said this on second show, and my wife is mad as heck because she's a Wizards fan through and through. We even talked about it upstairs. And it's yeah. So, but I just feel like with a new young head coach that is inexperienced. I don't really know his
Yep.
age, but he's a young as a head coach. He's a very young, inexperienced head coach. It's his first job as a head coach. He's been an assistant
Right.
forever, but
Yeah.
he's a head coach now. That doesn't speak to playoff experience. That doesn't speak to leadership to take stars to the next level. That
Hmm.
speaks to rebuild. Just being honest.
No,
And
I'll totally agree with that.
and I did see earlier today. I don't know if it was a rumor or an actual real thing that Bradley wasn't necessarily pleased in the head coach hiring,
Mm,
and the fact that he had a guy that he wanted, and that guy never got a second interview.
mm,
So if that's true, then perhaps Bradley is looking at the front door. And if so, I've heard Philly, I've heard Atlanta. Philly is interesting, but I honestly think Golden State is really the best place for him. With him there, they're definitely going to make the playoffs because you've got him and Steph together, and that's nuts in and of itself. Draymond Green seeing Clay back is going to have a rejuvenated season of just being happy to play again, and talk a lot of smack. And when he talks a lot of smack, Draymond plays
hmm.
better.
Yep, and he's
And
able to get them nut shots off.
yeah, oh wow. Wow.
That's a
And I
low
was
blow,
about to
Luke.
agree to that. So I was like, yeah, wait. What?
I'm just keeping it on brand. Got to go low with the blows.
Hey.
yes, we knows. But also that allows for Klay Thompson to walk himself back a little slower and to make sure that he's good and solid come playoff time. That would be a trade that would jettison Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins most likely to the Wizards,
Hmm.
which gives them another young big man because Thomas Bryant will be coming back off of his ACL. And so now you've got a solid backcourt. And with Wiseman, you can feel out how he's going to be and where he's going to be. And you don't necessarily have to put a whole lot on him with Thomas Bryant coming back, barring injury, of course. Denny Avia will be coming back off injury. You got him, Wiggins. That could be a really interesting. And then, as you see from my draft board, with the Wizards' number 7 pick, they take Davion Mitchell at point
Hmm.
guard, and now they've got something to really work with, coming back. So it helps them as well as it helps Golden State get back to relevance because quite honestly, and I've heard this rumbling, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that, the senior partners, Steph Curry and company, don't
Yep.
necessarily want young people. They don't want to rebuild. They want to get back to relevancy. They feel like they can still win a championship and they've got a small window to do it because unfortunately Father Time is undefeated. You know what I
Facts.
mean? So if they can get a Bradley Beal type player in that house, I feel like they can compete for a championship with that kind of guy. So I think that's why I think that trade is out there, and I think we'll see it at the draft. What do you guys think about that?
What do you think, Mr. Lou? I'd love to hear your thought on this.
That sounds interesting. I mean, I would like to see Bill in Philly, but yeah, that explanation there sounds like he would be a better fit. And as you said, with the trade, with going with the rebuild, that would be smarter for Washington to get the younger players because, yeah, if you're going to go with the rebuild, more than likely they're probably planning on shopping around Bill and possibly Westbrook as well. So,
Oh, definitely. If they get rid of Bill, Westbrook is on the chopping block immediately because, again, why are you going to keep a veteran that's poised for a championship run on a team that's rebuilding? That's not good for morale for anybody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And unfortunately, one of the main reasons I'll say why I don't think Philly is in place because they don't have any top round picks this year.
yeah, no,
I mean,
They got some good players though.
yeah,
yeah,
but
they do.
it depends on if Washington is truly trying to rebuild and you bring in like a Tobias Harris or somebody, it's still kind of the same
Yeah,
scenario where
yeah.
they're halfway ready to cook and halfway unbaked. So I just don't know if they make that. But go ahead, Stephen.
All right, so I got a kind of a lot to say on this. I'll try to boil it down as much as I can.
Okay.
Philly, I think, has the best trade package that you're hearing about compared to anybody, because Golden State can only really offer opportunity, whereas Philly can offer an all defensive talent in Ben Simmons. They can offer an up and coming point guard in Tyrese Maxey. They can add an up and coming young defender in Matisse Thybulle. They can give you the 28th pick in this year's draft, and then future draft picks on top of all of
That's
that,
true.
plus pick swaps, right? Whereas Golden State, they can give you a nice Andrew Wiggins, or right? They can give you a nice player in him. They can give you, who I think is still going to be a really good player, but you have to bet on his potential, in James Wiseman. And then you have to trust in your scouting department with the 7th and the 14th pick in this year's draft. Golden State was in a similar season last year where they had the number 2 pick. They had D'Angelo Russell, and they had an injured Klay Thomas, or Klay
Thompson.
Thompson, excuse me, Thompson.
Right.
So we're kind of seeing the same thing again this year, and it's getting to the point to where I'm starting to think that the theory of Golden State is starting to be better than the reality of it if they keep trying to cash in. Because here's my problem: if they trade this far, is that they trade the 7th and the 14th pick, and then they bring in a Bradley Beal. We still don't know what Klay Thompson's going to look like coming in off injury. Not only is he going to be coming back off the injury, but he's going to have to guard bigger players because he's going to be bigger than Beal and bigger than Curry. So he's going to be coming in off of injuries, guarding bigger players. They lose their center, and they lose depth. So you're really top heavy. What did Brooklyn just do this year? They had a coming off of injury, Kevin Durant missed time. They had, Kyrie Irving missed time. James Harden had to deal with injury after carrying the load, and did a really good job, by the way.
Stripper Wings came back to haunt him.
Yeah, if he came into the season in shape,
who does that
maybe
sound
he
like?
lasts.
Draymond Green, right? Draymond Green has problems coming back in the season in shape, so he
But
could get.
Draymond don't give the same production as James does. James should have came in shape, and he would have survived the season.
I agree. But however, what I'm saying is that Golden State has a bunch of, on the wrong side of 30 players. That's not bad for the earth, but in basketball, that means something, right? So I think Golden State, they really need to try to sell their big 3 on, hey, how did we get to be in the position that we're in anyway? Through the draft, drafting players and turning them into,
Yeah, but that took years. That took time, and I don't think they have.
They
time.
didn't have a big 3 already on that team when they brought those cats in. You know what I mean? So
No,
this is
I mean, it
deep.
took time for those players individually to become who they are. You know what I mean? Steph, especially, dude. His first 2-3 years, he was ankle injury prone. He was hardly playing. So again, he wasn't Steph off gate.
Right.
It took him time to be Steph, and I think that's what he's afraid of.
But in this draft, you don't need to draft a Steph Curry, right? You need to draft a defender. You need to draft a rim protector. You can do that in this draft at 7 and 14. You can do those things, right?
Because I have Usman Garaba going to Washington at 14 as that same defender you're speaking of.
Right. So you can draft, it depends on who you like. So you can address that in the draft, and it's cheaper to do that, and you get more depth in doing that, right? So I understand the appeal of adding a Bradley Beal. Bars right there, right? The appeal of Bill. So I understand the appeal of that, but I think that you have to trust your scouting department, and you have to build organically. Trying to speed it up doesn't always work. Point in case, Brooklyn. And here's the thing with Bradley Beal, not knocking the guy. I think he's a great player. But what did we just see last season in the weaker Eastern Conference? Now, the East is catching up rapidly. They're a really deep conference even this season. But compared to the West, it's still more difficult out West than it is in the East. We don't know what Klay Thompson looks like. That's a huge variable that I think people are just kind of hoping for the best, but not really considering the fact that it's going to be more difficult for him to come back and guard bigger defenders out in the West. And you have to trust that Draymond Green is going to be invested in the season. And then, again, look at what happened.
I trust that, though.
Look what happened in the East. Bradley Beal played next to a Hall of Famer in Russell Westbrook and barely made the play-in tournament in the East. So hang on.
I gotta stop you there.
Hang on. I'm rolling.
Come
So
on,
in the West, we saw Steph Curry on a team that didn't have a Bradley Beal, admittedly. They had a Draymond Green, and they had a Wiggins who I think, if we're being honest, outperformed whatever expectations were put on him. Right? He had a
Right.
really good season, and that team is going to be deeper that year than they are this year. But they didn't make the playoffs at all. So you're adding a Bradley Beal who played next to a Russell Westbrook who they had to fight and claw and scratch to make the play-in tournament in the
Mm-hmm.
weaker conference. Now you're going out west
But
with
you're
a
also
whole bunch of
neglecting.
variables.
You're also neglecting the fact that the Washington Wizards had the biggest hit of COVID that season. A
Everyone
lot,
had hits of COVID,
not like the
especially out
Wizards.
in the East.
You got it, bruh. Trust me, you
I,
got it.
I watched the season
Go
too.
back. I know. I'm not saying he didn't.
Yep,
I'm
yep,
not
yep.
saying he didn't. But you got to go. Trust go back and look at the data. The Wizards got hit ridiculously hard by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of teams got hit by it, but not decimated the way that the Wizards had. It's like every week somebody else was out
Yeah.
with COVID and they weren't coming back right away. And then when they did, they were sluggish and even Westbrook, because Westbrook had it.
Yep.
So
And he had it the year
it's
before. He missed time the
yeah,
year before too.
yeah. I mean, so it's and then the injury bug, Thomas Bryant, they were depending on him to be that big for them, and he was supposed to have a breakout year last year. Hurt up in the first week of the season, gone for the year. Denny Avia, even toward the end of the season,
Yep.
and he when he was starting to show promise, gone. I mean, dude, gone after gone after gone. I mean, they're relying on cats like, no disrespect, but Raul Neto, really to give you great minutes. I mean, so to me, I do hear what you're saying. And the thing about Westbrook is this: Westbrook is a 15 to 19 point player. He does everything else. But as far as point production, you're not looking to Westbrook to give you 25, 30. You're not looking to Westbrook to win you the game. You're looking because that's not his style. That's not his game. If it was at one time, it's not anymore. Because the last few years, he'll have amazing games here and there, but he is not the offensive threat that he once was. Bradley is, and yes, as you said, they made the play. They sure did. Steph needed Herculean efforts because Oubre did not show up. We forgot that he was even on the team.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Oubre did not show up, but he should have. Uh, the
And he
Wizards
got
got
some of
rid
the
of
best.
Oubre.
He got some of the best looks he's ever going to get too.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
dude. I mean, you wide open most of the time because everybody worried about Steph. And you can't perform. So again, if Oubre performs, Steph and them, of course they make the playoffs. Of course they well, didn't they make the didn't they make the oh wait, no, they didn't. They lost to Memphis and Memphis got bounced out early. Okay. But if
I'm just
Oubre
people
shows
are.
up, that's all I'm saying is because they had a guy, he
Mm-hmm.
just didn't step up. So if you give a guy like
They
Beal
have
that
four
same
guys.
team, you give a guy like Beal who stepped up for his team,
Mm-hmm.
you give him Steph, he's not going to Oubre out. And
Not
yeah,
saying he
they
will,
go
but
with. But so you think that even with Beal, if everything else doesn't fall into place, Golden State still doesn't make the playoffs?
I'm not saying like so. Hold up, I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. If I'm leading into that, I apologize. That's not where I'm going with that. I'm saying that the championship level expectations that are put on them already before a trade may or may not even happen. Like we have less than 24 hours before Golden State has to make this trade. They're in
Right.
a desperate spot too, and teams know that. So they
Right.
can get waxed on whatever type of offer that they have to that they can give. They can get stripped for parts because the clock's against them right now, and a team just has to wait them out before they just settle for a bad deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a tough spot for Golden State to be in to say, give me a guy to make me a championship roster in like 20 minutes if you could be so kind, please, right? And the team just to be able to rescind to that and be like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to help you build a super team with my superstar who by all accounts has not denied, or has not said outright that I want to be gone.
Hasn't
And
denied it
also,
either, though.
yep, but he's also not confirmed nor denied for like the past 6 seasons.
No, pretty much he's confirmed that he's not leaving those past few seasons. Again, we watched them and
Mm-hmm.
hear their reports and their stuff as much as I don't necessarily want to. I'm playing, sweetheart. I love it. Um, so again, I mean, we've been watching religiously since I guess Gilbert Arenas and Brandon Haywood and them.
Mm-hmm.
When they
That
used
was
to
a
get
fun
bounced
team.
out.
Karan
Oh, they
Butler,
were
Deshaun
great.
Stevenson, Antonio Daniels,
Made the
Eton
playoffs
Thomas.
every
Yep.
yes, made the playoffs every year till they got bounced out by Cleveland every year. And side note, Eton Thomas used to come down into the DC poetry scene and do his stuff on stage. I used to see him all the time. Matter of fact, I brought you down one time, Lou, when he was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we just
yeah, I remember that
reminiscing.
night.
I love that team. Those jerseys were fire too. I
Yeah,
loved
they
it.
were. Yo, they
Mm-hmm.
need to kind of go back to that. I like this district stuff, but yo, that Wizards joint was high.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
The
But
golds
again,
and the blue. Yeah.
right. But I say all that to say this team. I don't think they're being finessed
Mm-hmm.
by Golden State, and I get it. If they could get Ben Simmons, but I don't know if they're gonna trade Ben Simmons. To be perfectly honest with you, I
Ooh.
hear all the
Oof.
noise,
Yep.
and Mr. Lewis, this is your team, so I know you can help speak to me on that. I don't. I honestly, I don't know. It sounds great, but at the end of the day, I don't know if they do that. And I know it would take him to make that trade possible, especially with no first round draft picks this year. But even then, it still puts Washington in a funny position with a brand new head coach because now you've got a team that could possibly make noise. And if they don't, it's now your fault. And that's the quickest road for you to be fired. I'd rather work with a bunch of kids that I can rock with for 2, 3 seasons and secure my position before I start bringing in superstars that could get me fired.
Well, I think that Ben Simmons, as much as I think that he could be, I don't think that he's at that superstar level quite yet. I think that he's definitely, if you believe in like a tier system, I think he's in the next one down, like as a star, right? Which is still a great place to be in the NBA. You can make a lot of money being that.
Right.
But if they trade and get Ben Simmons, he's like what, 25, 26 years old. So he's not super young, but he's also still got a lot of basketball ahead of him. You bring in a Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle. Both of those guys are pretty young. So those are some young cats that Wes Unseld Jr. can definitely kind of build
Yeah.
and cultivate as his guys, right? And
Matisse
then you get the
Thybulle.
28th pick. You get the 28th pick in this draft. Future picks upcoming to where you can let Wes Unseld Jr. develop his roster his way, and you still got young guys already on the team in Abdia, Rui Hachimura, Daniil Gafford.
Right.
Morty. You got a whole bunch of guys on here.
But I mean, and I was thinking about Gafford, but at
Mhm.
the end of the day, if I got Thomas Bryant and Jonathan Wiseman, I don't need Daniel Gafford and his exuberant energy and some timey skill set.
I mean, you might, but here's the thing: Golden State, they're in a tough spot, man. Like
Yeah,
I
I
understand
agree.
the desperation that they have to make a super team to make their big three happy. But man, they're gonna give up more than what they probably like. They're gonna give up enough to where it's gonna impact them come playoff time, if that makes sense. They're gonna give up a lot because they are in the most vulnerable position out of any team looking to make a trade.
And unless they can get a third team involved, if
Well, I
they can
mean,
get a third team involved, that might actually offset some of the wreckage to their bench
well,
in
they
a
have
way.
to incentivize them to help them out too, though. Like that's the other thing. Like Golden State, they have to beg people to help them make a super team in 20, like in an hour, basically. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
they have to get it, and I think that makes it even harder. The more teams you get involved, like you have to incentivize everybody to help you become one of the top teams in the NBA.
that's fair. Before we head out, because we're getting on to that hour, and that went fast
Yes, it
tonight,
did.
bro. It went
yeah, man.
so fast. I'm sitting there like, really? Because I still got segments. Hold on. We didn't. We only had one damn commercial. Wait a minute.
Mm.
So I want to get to one last trade idea that I had because I'm
Okay.
not sure. On my trade board, it's an asterisk. I know I have your I have your big board up because it's look at the hardwood. It's very well done, by the way.
Thank you so much, man. Canva. You can go to canva.com. You can
Oh
make one
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah. I
it.
use that for my flyers. Yes, for show flyers when I'm not lazy and actually do them. Yeah, no, but I have on mine. If you see Oklahoma City, and of course I did the top 20, but
Hmm.
if you see Oklahoma City, I have asterisks
Okay.
by all of their picks, all three. The reason I have asterisks is because I don't believe that Oklahoma City is going to pick three players in the first round. I think they're going to package something up and make trades, but I'm just not sure if they're going to trade for players because I'm not familiar. To me, their roster is so herky jerky that it
Yep.
doesn't really make sense to spend money to bring a player because you don't really know what you have anyway. But at the same time, you don't want to bring three young pups into an already confused debacle. So I know that they should make a trade with some of that because they can get some good capital for these three trades. They really
Sure.
can. They can really be players. But what would they play? What would they be players for? What do you guys think?
What do you think, Mr. Lou?
Um, yeah, I think you're right, but I do think they'll get at least one of those three picks, and I
Yeah.
think they will be going for James Bonite. The other two, I think, yeah,
Okay.
they
Oh, the
will.
number two with the number six pick. Yeah, and
Hmm.
then package up the other. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because apparently Sam Presti just likes having
A lot
an
of
up and
picks.
coming team. He likes a lot of picks, and he likes what's one way to keep your picks to be good is to trot out a bunch of rookies on your team, right? So if you want your draft picks to have any sort of value, they got to be higher. And putting a bunch of rookies on the floor, we saw that in Philadelphia during the process, right? And look, if all these picks that he has, like if he can ditto what he did with KD, Russ,
I
and
was going to
James
bring
Harden,
that up
Hmm.
like the best way to do that is to have as many darts to throw at the board as you can, right?
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
he's got 6 picks in this draft.
In total. Yeah.
Dude. So I agree with you. I don't think that they're all there. Maybe he moves up, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's still making 3 or 4 that same night. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
So you think he might package up a couple of them second round picks that he loves to collect, with
He
maybe a couple of already stashed second round picks to move up in the first round somewhere.
Yeah, he could definitely do that. I mean, and some of the second rounders are early, so maybe he throws in I think it's the 18th pick that they have. They
Mm-hmm.
can move up with the 18th and
They have the
three
16th and the
seconds.
18th.
Oh, 16th and 18th. Yep, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. So they can move up the 18th pick and go and throw all their seconds in with it and maybe move up a couple spots if there's a player that they like. You know what I mean? So maybe they still keep 3 first round picks. They can sell their fan base on the future of the team, like how they do. They still have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Darius Baisley looks like he's going to be nice. Lou Dort's a real big fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Pokachevsky's the unicorn of the team, right? No one knows what he's going to be when he grows up,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
you still have a lot of ways that they can go, but I think that they keep the team young. I don't think that they're looking to be competitive this season. Although I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I wish that I hope that he has success in whatever he does. But
Right.
he's
You
got
think they
such a.
let him go?
I,
Mm,
I hope not. That would be dumb. But I mean, again, if they're
I
trying to get
agree.
as many picks as they can and repeat what they did with the 3 MVPs that they drafted to their team, maybe selling high on the guy is the best way to go. But I love SGA. I hope he stays there.
Well, right on. Well, we are now at a little bit past 10 o'clock. We had other segments, but you know what? We're going to run those next week.
I'm so sorry, Fa.
No, this is great because guess
It's
what?
not on
The
you, bro.
draft is tomorrow. So these are the analysis that have to come out, man. And I think we had a good
Yes,
time
yes.
breaking it down. We really didn't even get into all the draft numbers and all that. We kind of got sidetracked by trades, but I think the trade conversation is great. And I really feel like we're going to see some trade movement tomorrow. So
Yeah, I mean, there's I think 3, 4 teams that don't have a draft pick
yep.
tomorrow. So a lot of those teams you're not hearing anything about. Maybe they look to try to shake things up and get into this draft.
Exactly.
And maybe some competitive teams are looking to take some of the best players off of that roster and give up their draft pick. So that's not really getting discussed a lot, but you never know on draft night, man. That's where all the crazies come out.
Exactly. The freaks come out at night.
What?
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. Stephen G, thank you, brother. We appreciate it every time,
sir.
man. Like I said, man, one of the best in the game while breaking the game.
I appreciate that, man. It's much love coming from my end to y'all as well. Y'all run a great show. I appreciate everything that y'all do. And it's always a good time, man. I love the vibe that I get every time I come on here, man. So don't be afraid to reach out again now.
Oh, I won't, because this is family. Ladies and gentlemen, this is family.
Lady and gentlemen, that's right.
Yeah,
all right, so we out. We will see y'all next week. Enjoy the draft. Coach Fah in the building.
Mr. Lewis.
Much love, y'all.
Peace and love. Till next week. We out.
We out, baby.
Welcome to the Candid Corner. Welcome to the Candid Corner. Welcome to the Candid Corner.
Welcome to the Candid Corner, your number one spot for hip hop, classic hip hop, today's hip hop. We talk about sports,